Hello there guys and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm actually going to be talking about Star Wars Squadrons for the first time in a long time. The reason for that is because I wanted to think about what the game could be like now if it got an extra year's worth of content. And the reason for that is because it had a huge amount of potential and sadly only got 2 months worth of post-launch content, with there originally being no plans for post-launch whatsoever. The topics I'll be covering today are maps, modes, starfighters and cosmetics, and I think it's also worth saying that this is just a list of stuff that I would have personally liked to have seen and not necessarily what we would have actually gotten. Starting off with the maps then, they actually had quite a few available options to look at. There were still maps from the campaign that they could have added like Hosnian Prime or Mon Cala, or they could have looked into creating new maps based on Titan Squadron and Vanguard Squadron's past battles. Now those past battles wouldn't necessarily have to be ones that they fought each other in, just the battles that they had in general. They could have also added some major battles from the original trilogy. For example, they could have added a Scarif map above the Shield Gate, as well as Death Star 1, Death Star 2 and Hoth. Off the bat there, I've specifically named 5 maps that they could have added, but there are no doubt many others that they could come up with as well. Realistically, I think we could have seen about 4 to 5 additional maps added in the 12-month period, which isn't too bad, so perhaps we could have had Hosnian Prime, Scarif, Hoth and 2 completely new ones. As for the new modes, there are once again quite a few options that they could have gone for. One that I've personally wanted for a very long time now is an escort mode. In Battlefront 2015's Fighter Squadron mode, there are times in a match where you can escort an Imperial shuttle or a Rebel GR-75 transport ship out of the battle. But I think it would be really cool if they actually made a whole mode just dedicated to that. It would essentially work similarly to Escort and Extraction from Star Wars Hunters and the 2 Battlefront games respectively, however, it will have a slight twist. Instead of having a zone to be in to make the ship move, I think the ship should just always be flying towards the endpoint, but the enemy team has a certain amount of time in order to destroy it. If the timer runs out, which is when the ship reaches its goal, then the defenders win, but if the ship is destroyed then the attackers win. Another mode that I would have liked to have seen in the game is Capture the Flag. It's a little more arcadey compared to the other modes in Squadrons currently, but I do think it would be pretty fun to play. The way this would work is pretty simple. You just have to get the flag from the middle of the map and take it to the opposing side, which is where your goal is. I think it makes sense for it to be this way round instead of taking it back to your side, so that it gives the opposition a better chance to defend the goal, essentially how it is in football and many other sports. I'm sure you guys have probably got some other ideas for game modes, but I do think these 2 would have gone down really well, or at least they would have with me. Now onto the new starfighters. Honestly, I was really happy with the 5 per side that we had in the end, so I wouldn't really expect any more, especially as there isn't really a huge pool to choose from. If we were to get another 1 to 2 starfighters per side though, I would have loved to have seen the TIE Advanced V1 and the T-70 X-Wing as playable ships in the game. The TIE Advanced V1 is already in the game as we see in the prologue, which is piloted by Lyndon Javes, so it would still obviously take quite a lot of work to get ready for the multiplayer, but it is just a really cool starfighter nonetheless, so I'd love to see it playable. As for the T-70 X-Wing, I just didn't really know what else to choose. It kind of breaks the canon side of things a little, but it doesn't really matter though, as it would only be available in the multiplayer, and it was introduced to the Alliance forces only a few months after the game's story took place. The stats of the T-70 can vary from the T-65B as well, so that they're not entirely the same. The T-70 is an upgrade after all. In the canon, the T-70 had better weapons and was faster than the T-65B, so maybe you just lower the health a touch to try and balance it out, as otherwise everyone will go for the T-70 over the T-65B. Finally, I just wanted to touch upon cosmetics. Despite full content updates ending in December, we actually got fairly regular cosmetic drops until May 4th earlier this year. There isn't anything specific I can really say that I want, as Squadrons added all of the canon stuff along with a heck of a lot more, so I just would have wanted more of the same. To this day we're still getting the Operation helmets, which is really nice, but even more cosmetic drops would have been great. There's already a ton of cosmetics in the game to be fair, and I'm nowhere near getting them all, and I won't for a very long time, and I may never even get them all anyway, but you can never say no to more skins. To summarise, I think if Squadrons had another 12 months worth of content, we could have gotten 4 to 5 new maps, 2 to 3 new game modes, 1 to 2 new starfighters per faction, and a ton of more cosmetics. Now I don't know how realistic that actually is, but that's just what I personally would have loved to have seen added. If there was more, then that is awesome, and if not, I wouldn't be too bothered either, but Squadrons had a lot of potential, and I truly hope that someday it gets the sequel that it deserves. In a future video, I will be talking about all of my hopes for a Squadrons 2, so be sure to subscribe to the channel with those notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on that video. But that is it from me today, guys. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to have seen if Squadrons got an additional year's worth of content. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.